Baldur's Gate. Playing one of the adventures, running through the entire campaign. We all have our favorite character classes, different character classes to explore. And in previous vlogs that I've uploaded to my channel here, I've encouraged you to explore what many would say in the community suboptimal classes. And I like the Shapeshifter. I enjoy playing the Wizard Slayer. I understand the narrative of what they were trying to capture, but the AD&D / first edition, second edition rules, there were pieces that could have been a little bit tighter. So many players seem to feel like, why would I play Wizard Slayer when there are numerous other Sword Saint, as an example, or just a Berserker or a fighter that do the stats better. But as we go through the game, and you've solved the main quest, you've explored sub-quests, there's this shift where you kind of have an idea of what is coming next or what order you're going to tackle it in. And of course, there are numerous side quests to tackle and explore. It takes a long time to chew through those side quests. Then we start looking at playing with different party options, taking on different NPCs, or exploring different character builds within builds. I'm putting this as a framework because that's what I want to challenge you for your next run through. I just completed a playthrough with a monk. Now, tabletop D&D, tabletop AD&D, I enjoy playing a monk, and I wanted to kind of get that experience again and see what it looks like digital versus tabletop. My next run, I'm going to be playing a sorcerer. And this is the challenge to ask this type of build template if you're thinking about playing a sorcerer or re-examining the character class that you enjoy playing. So you have that duality of I enjoy playing it, but let's do a completely different sub-build. I love wizards, well, mages in Baldur's Gate, and I love sorcerers. But in doing this different, what we often see with the sorcerer primarily, especially as you get into Throne, you have so many spells that you can cast, plus you have augments to give you more spells per day, that it's literally like an arcane cannon. You're just like click, blast, click, blast, click, blast. I mean, you could solo it. Being a sorcerer, even the subcategories like a Dragon Disciple, you can solo the whole game and just essentially blast everything. So the build I want to play with, something different, an influence sorcerer. Influence sorcerer. I'm going to play a Dragon Disciple because in the narrative, it's going to be asking the question, do I follow my Draconic heritage or do I follow the heritage of the Lord of Murder and see those directions? But also I want the massive Constitution boosts, and I want a few other bonuses in there because I'm going to utilize some of the different magic staves, push that out, higher hit point pool through the con bonuses. So losing a spell here and there, that's okay. I'm okay with that. That's the decision for Dragon Disciple. But the spell choices that I'm going to take, there are not going to be any damage dealing spells. The Sorcerer Influencer, he's looking at obviously the scales per level as you make your way through. Charm spells, dominate spells, hold spells, debuffs like Ray of Enfeeblement. A lot of spells that maybe you would play once or twice as a wizard just to memorize it and see graphically the spell effect and then say, okay, on to the raw damage. Essentially, this sorcerer is going to be an influencer. He's going to look to charm, dominate, feeble mind, and hold. Now, the power with this build, when you link this up with the sorcerer, and the fact that the sorcerer generally gets more clickies to cast, and again, augmented by rings and other magic items that are going to give you even more spells, you break through, or I should say you leverage one of the fundamental challenges of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game system. And this is why both tabletop or in Baldur's Gate itself, digital, the idea of charms and feeble minds and dominates is a little bit it's hard to implement. First, you have to actually cast the spell, and then you have to be able to beat the magical resistances or the saving throw, right, against the target. And, okay, I can charm some orcs for the lull. I can charm some hobgoblins. Well, if I was playing Icewind Dale for the orcs, I can charm various things. But the stuff that I really want to charm, or the stuff that I really want to reduce to feeble mind or influence and dominate, they've got jacked up resistances and decent saving throws. So it's kind of like playing a wild mage. I hit him with a charm person. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, and I move on through combat. But to make that a fundamental piece and tactics, this influencer sorcerer, the fact that I'm going to have a limited spell pool, but it's all going to be dedicated to that means every turn I can be like, charm person cast. It succeeded, charm person again. Next target, charm person again. It failed, charm person. Failed, charm person. I'm looking at the lower level spells for a reference. Being able to leverage the fact that I can cast so many spells, I will beat the resistances and the saving throws through just, basically spam. Clicky, castable spam. Pushing that out. Now, the loss of, when you play a specialized character class like this, where you're taking the kit, but you're using it in a vastly radical different way. Another example, and we can look into this, playing a fighter class or a berserker type class, but using a crossbow build. Completely different and interesting. Kind of a gunslinger build to play that out. But this idea of when you take a character that is optimized and play one of these really sub-builds, fun to play, different to play, then possibly, depending on where you are and how familiar you are with the game, you're going to use the NPCs to boost your abilities. And fortunately, by limiting my sorcerer to suit such a subset, such an influencing subset, what this means is it's not so much a loss. I've got Mira I can take as a wild mage. We have lots and lots of characters. I don't want to spoil any of the NPCs for those of you new to the game, because that discovery part of the game is going in and talking to everybody and discover who you can hire and who can join you. But there are multiple mages or multiple ways to expand characters into mages. It's not going to be a major hit. It's not going to be a major loss for such a specialization. So that's the challenge. And I promise to swing back around with how it plays out and some of the challenges and some of the optimizations as we move throughout the series. But for your next playthrough, if you're in a run right now, finish it out, have fun. For your next playthrough, take a favorite character class that you have and think about, how can I develop that into a subclass that is really specialized in something far out there, crazy, and interesting, to help bring a new aspect and a new way to explore the game.